aviation for a few moments now, and take a look at some of the different work in the Venerable Sea King. Now, one of the great things about featuring the Sea King this year is that it's pretty much its last year. You'll see it around a little bit next year, but after 60 odd years of fantastic service, these aircraft all being moved on, and in this case the Commando helicopter force will be taking charge of the new uprated Merlin helicopter. And would Linda Chapman, please make yourself known to one of the stewards, please. Linda Chapman, thank you. So, while we're waiting for the chopper to come on station, just a quick update. We've got the Vulcan in 15 minutes' time, and that'll be followed by the Dakota. Then a really interesting pairs display of our Royal Air Force's new Hawk T2 trainer. And more about that to come. Of course, we'll see the Blenheim back at about 3:20, the Blades at about 3:50. Hopefully the Kenneth Spitfire from the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight will then join us before the Red Arrows at 4:30 this afternoon. Here from the left then, please welcome the Commando Helicopter Force with our call sign Avenger Sea King. A little bit of wing waggle and a great flag and a good bit of marketing on the side there. I was hoping to be joined by one of their crew today, but clearly they haven't made it through this incredibly busy seafront. But the aircraft today in the hands of two of their crew. They brought 3 pilots with them. Today we've got Lieutenant Tom Nason and Lieutenant Dan Howe. Both flying it. They've also got 4 in the back, and you'll see why they got 4 in the back when they come into a hover a little later. On the left-hand side there, a RNLI lifeboat coming into position, and very shortly the Sea King will tie up with that lifeboat, and they will put some of their chaps down a rope. Now, pretty dodgy stuff to do because both of them will be moving. Of course, the wind is blowing and the sea is bobbing up and down all at the same time. But this is what they do in the Commandos, and they do it pretty well.
I've already got my start in there.
848 squadron due to amalgamate with 845 as part of the transition to Merlin, which is ongoing as we speak, and training, a lot of training was conducted at Royal Air Force Benson, and that is now culminating. But the Commando helicopter force very much embedded within joint operations. It is a unit of the Royal Navy Fleet R-Arm and an element of the Joint Helicopter Command of the British Armed Forces. It provides rotary wing support to 3 Commando Brigade, Royal Marines and other force elements. Well, I'm delighted to say he has made it through the crowds, which is fantastic news, because I'm now joined by Lieutenant Commander Mike Brown. And he can just give us a feel for what's coming up next. Now, I mentioned that the boys are going to actually jump down a rope. Now, this is what the booties like to do. They're part of an overall group of aficionados referred to very much as the junglers, but here we're almost in a nautical scene. So, Mike, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, Josh. The boys this afternoon is display initially showing you fast moving about the back of the aircraft. So they're going to put a rope out that's about 60 feet back down to the deck of the RNLI vessel, and it's a method we use to get the troops on the ground pretty quickly when you can't actually land the aircraft itself. So the rope will go on the back of the aircraft, and the guys will jump out and slide down the rope. There you go, that's the rope on the back of the deck. And there's 3 troops will come out the back of the aircraft, fast rope down, first one down on the rope now on the deck, and then the second 2 guys will come out as well.
Now that looked like a pretty big heave-ho of a rope actually. I noticed that didn't come out on the strop, so that looks a massive big, coil to have picked up.
Yeah, it's a pretty big weight, that's why we have the Royal Marine crew in the back, and it's their job then to try and pull the whole lot back in again at the end.
Okay. Now this is interesting, just before you arrived I was talking about both vessels moving, there's a wind blowing and there's a bobbing sea, and yet the Sea King looks incredibly stable.
It is a very, very stable platform. The guys in the back will begin the aircraft, Commando, Con, telling them where to go and where to position the aircraft. It's actually at the front, there's not a lot to see. You might see the forward capstan, and then the guy sitting in the front end of the lifeboat. Apart from that, there's not a lot to look at, to references.
No, so a lot of crew cooperation going on here, and it's not just they're not just there to be pretty. There's a lot of chit chat going on all the time, isn't there, between the crew?
Yeah, there's constant chat the whole time. That's very important. As a pilot in the front, you rely on that completely. The update from the back in terms of where you are in position.
Okay, now of course this is rather a nice day for these chaps to be flying around here. Normally it's a dark January night in the middle of the Oggy and you haven't got a clue where you're going. And a bit like Thursday morning in Eastbourne actually, and take my hat off to these guys. Just as we cancelled aviation Thursday morning, up pops the Commando helicopter force and the intrepid bunch of naval aviators. An interesting arrival, Mike.
It was, it was a bit of a grovel, but we knew that as long as we get from Yelverton to the coast, we'd then be able to grovel around sort of 50, 100 feet around the water. And actually, once you're out over the sea, navigation is a lot easier in terms of A to B and the weather. There's not so much to fly into.
Now, over the years, I was talking about the longevity and the amazing service the Sea King has given us, but of course these now pretty advanced. You've got decent GPS and radar and so on and so forth. What have you got to help you in those sort of circumstances?
The GPS is pretty good, but actually no better than probably you would buy off-the-shelf kit. It can tell you exactly where you are to within sort of 10 metres or so. And there's lots of navigation aids as well there in terms of radio aids for instrument flying when you're up in the clouds and you can't see anything.
Fantastic. Now, I mentioned that 848 was going through a bit of a metamorphosis as you move on to Merlin. What's the current state of activity?
So at the moment we've got 7 aircraft left, and our main effort is in terms of standing home commitments, maritime counter-terrorism. But apart from that, we've sort of seen the last lot of pilots through and starting to transition to Merlin, Mark 3, Mark 4 into next year.
Brilliant. So this looks like pickup time, am I guessing?
Yeah, we can see the strop coming down from the aircraft there. They're going to winch the guys back up. So this is the sort of stuff we would normally associate with the RAF Mark 3 Sea King and the Navy Mark 5 in terms of winching the guys back up from the vessel. So the strop comes down. There's an earthly lead on the bottom end of the strop, which cuts the deck first to make sure electric shock from the static. Then the guys will put the strop around them, tighten it up, and they'll be winched up one by one. And the Royal Navy, you can see the first chap on the wire there, about to enter the door. The Royal Navy door, you can see on the side there, the ones there were 3 commissioned for the Olympics a few years ago, and it's come back out of retirement, back for the final year of the Sea King. So the aircraft there is flown by Lieutenant Dan Howes. It's about 3 or 4 years in the front line since completing 848 Naval Air School basic training. In the left-hand seat is Lieutenant Tom Nason. And down the back we've got Corporal Michael Maguire, Open Deck, Royal Marine, and leading air crewman Paul Litcham.
Now, you're clearly a very democratic crew because you were flying yesterday and you've let your chum fly today. Is there a fight for who's going to take it home tomorrow?
We're actually going back on Monday, so
are you?
I'll be flying tomorrow with one of the other pilots.
Yep.
And we'll just take it in turns.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, brilliant stuff. Well, you may as well enjoy the flying as well as the wonderful Eastbourne hospitality.
Yeah, we've been very lucky actually this year to have quite a few outings this summer with the last year of the Sea King. So we've very much enjoyed being here and being part of the big event.
Now, I also happen to be a sailor as well, and I'm curious to know what form of communications are going on by radio between the lifeboat and your helicopter.
Okay, so the aircraft itself is talking to the Eastbourne here on the UHF frequency, but also on the second box, the guys are chatting to the guys on VHF channel 0, which is the maritime frequency we're using, just to coordinate the aspects of the display.
Okay, so you've got a whole range of comms on board then as well. So you can go and talk to yachts on, start off on channel 16 and things like that, just any other mariner could.
Yeah, that's correct, yeah. So there's three radios in the aircraft. Sometimes we fit a 4th one. So the guys are listening on many different channels.
Yeah, fantastic.
And the aircraft should be coming back around and position behind the lifeboat for the final salute.
So we're getting through all forms of aviation. We don't actually have the Army Air Corps flying today. Sadly, the Lynx Mark 7 went out of service literally just 3 or 4 weeks ago, but they're here behind us. But of course, the Royal Navy featured on the Western Lawns as well as the Royal Air Force. And I'm sure Mike and his crew are happy to chat to you later on if you're interested in joining the military to train as a pilot. Now, the Commando Helicopter Force is a little bit special, a little bit elite. For the pilots, though, does this mean that you've got to do a lot of extra training, or do they just sort of let you in because you're a steely-eyed pilot?
Well, I think we're probably the only helicopter force actually that still trains single pilot operations. So one pilot at the front, one aircrewman down the back. All the other forces, as far as I'm aware now, are trained as dual pilots, so 2 people at the front at all times. But due to the role we've had in the Falkland Islands and Iraq and Afghanistan over the years, we always retain that capability to be able to operate just one guy at the front, one down the back looking after the bootnecks and the army in the background. And what you see now is the aircraft coming to a hover behind the lifeboat. It will climb to approximately 150 feet before nosing over and departing to the right.
And the crewman's waving out the back, and no doubt the crew are waving out through their window as well. They give you a little nod. Look at the downwash from that as well. Exciting stuff. Here's the other crewman as well in the back seat now, and the RNLI. Don't forget to wave to them as well, boys. They do a great job every day, and it's usually not as nice as this when they're at work. So we take our hats off to them, and really good. Of course, the military guys and the RNLI giving up their weekends to come and entertain us and keep the shores safe. Well, fantastic stuff indeed. That's the Commando Helicopter Force really putting both the chopper and the Lifeboat Institute volunteers through their paces this afternoon. So it's off for a bit of tea and tiffin, back to the wardroom, I'm sure, Mike, and a little noggin, perhaps.
That's right, yeah, tea medals.
Tea and medals, current cry. And well done, the Lifeboat volunteers. Really great to see you here on the Eastbourne seafront. We hope you don't have to undertake too many rescues this afternoon, although I hear there's some very mad parachutists going to drop out of the sky at about 5 o'clock this afternoon, so I think we might just need you back. Mike, thanks for joining us, and we'll see. There's one pilot I haven't seen, so is he going to be here tomorrow?
Lieutenant Dan Howes will be here tomorrow to give you the update.
Fantastic. Okay. Bloodied all 3 of you on the microphone.
That's right.
Fantastic
Thanks,
news.
George.
Yeah, really good. Okay, see you guys tomorrow. And that was terrific to get it from the horse's mouth indeed. Well, very shortly, in a few minutes' time, we have the Vulcan. So we're going to mic up Sean Maffett. And look about this for tight timing. We're a couple of minutes early here, but they're on station and they are good to go. And there's nothing like stealing the limelight, is there? Absolutely terrific stuff indeed. And